We're live, by the way.
Oh,
We should be anyway.
What up, everybody?
About to start the podcast, so
Okay.
here we go.
Oh, really? All right, cool.
All right. I think they did on the live stream. It's good to be back.
So good to be back in person.
Be nice if I turned your mic up too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here for my looks. I think we can all agree on that. I still tell people the story about how you told me I had a face for radio. I'll never forget the first time you said that one to me, and I still tell people that story all these years later. Made me real happy I asked you to come join the show.
Right? Hey, listen, but it worked out. It worked out for both of us. I feel like it was good all around.
All things considered, I have no problem with the spot I'm sitting in right now.
The spot you're sitting in, but how about the spot that I'm just gonna start it right here because it's got to be number one. How about the spot that Michael Penix Jr. was drafted at? And I mean, come on. Like, number 8 overall after you just signed Kirk Cousins. I don't care how you want to explain it to me. I don't care that it's the most important position. But there's no way you can spin this. You now have a quarterback room that, to me, is way too expensive for what it is. You know what I mean? Because even if Cousins goes down, and I know you're only locked into him for 2 years, and then you can get out. But one, it sends a bad message to Cousins because I already heard rumors that he was like, what?
Yeah, apparently his camp was pretty
WTF,
pissed. Yeah.
man. Like, came here with my fam. You paid me a bunch of money, and now you draft a QB. And the guy's, 24 years old? And I got to be honest, 6'2", 216. But I believe he's 24, and I believe he's had, 4 season-ending injuries? If I'm not mistaken, it's like both knees and both shoulders, I think. Like, I need you to help me make sense of this because I listen to Orlovsky and I want to just slam my head through a wall. I listen to guys like Ian Rappaport and I'm like, I don't care how you try to justify it. I don't care how much it was rumored and how much they loved him. Well, if they loved him that much, they shouldn't have paid Cousins the money they paid him.
So to preface this, and I'm pretty sure everybody already knows this, so not to beat a dead horse, right? But like, it makes sense to have a quarterback like him sit behind a veteran like Cousins for 2 years to develop and be able to take over afterwards. Now, with that said, we do have to recognize the fact that by going to get Cousins this offseason, the Atlanta Falcons said to themselves, we believe we are a starting quality quarterback away from being a team that can compete in the NFC. If you believe that and you have the number 8 overall pick, you should be making a move that helps benefit your team specifically for the next 2 years. Try and build talent because with Cousins, if he stays healthy and plays well, odds have it they're not getting a top 10 draft pick. So why not make the move to go after an offensive lineman and ensure you're protecting him coming off of a bad injury? Go get another wide receiver. Go get go get a defensive lineman. Go get a corner. Go get a linebacker. Go trade back. Get more draft picks. I think Falcons fans have the right to be pissed about that pick with that thought process in mind. But if you're thinking long-term longevity, I understand the draft pick if you believe Penix can be a NFL quarterback. So I don't know if that helps how you feel.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So
no. It's all literally. I felt like I was listening to.
Don't compare me to that idiot on ESPN.
No. What I'm going to compare. Like I was just hearing wah, 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 wah. It was making no sense to me. It's just still all mumbo jumbo because you don't know, and you're not going to know for another couple years at least. You could tell me it's a Jordan Love type situation, but it's not. You could tell me it's other. This for the number 8 pick overall. For you to not go out and sign somebody to try to protect when you could have had, one of the top offensive linemen in the draft. To me, this was an absolute stunner, and I think this is an absolute failure.
What if
by
they
the Falcons
balled out and went with Brock Bowers? I would have loved that pick. I would have loved that pick.
But they already have Pitts.
I understand that.
So what's he
going
to do?
Do you not remember the damage a 2 tight end set like Hernandez and Gronk was able to do? Could you imagine putting those 2 guys, both of which are good to really good run blockers? I would say Pitts is good, but Bowers is a really good run blocking tight end. Like, so you can have them on the field, be able to run the ball. You can have them on the field, be able to throw the ball, keep one in to protect. Like, there's a lot you can do with 2 tight ends. But see, it makes
sense. I could get there with you. I can't get there with Penix. I can't. I'm sorry. It blows my mind. I mean, you look just a couple picks later. I actually like what the Jets did by trading back that one, letting McCarthy go, because obviously that was a wasted pick anyway, and being able to draft a lineman out of Penn State, Olufashanu, that's the best pronunciation.
I think you're probably
am I
pretty close?
I'm in the ballpark?
Yeah.
Anyway, he is one of the top tackles in the draft, somebody who can go out there and protect for Aaron Rodgers. Makes a ton of sense.
Comes from Penn State, which is a nice physical football team too. You're
exactly.
Not
coming from a good spot, coming from a good place. I'm at a loss for words, honestly, and that's hard for me to say because I'm never at a loss for words.
Any person that knows you knows that's a very true statement.
And I mean, that's where I wanted to start. We could beat this dead horse all day, but I mean, it's just not going to get us anywhere.
Well, so if we're going to talk quarterbacks, right? Like, look, the J.J. McCarthy thing, we've talked enough. In my opinion, we've talked enough about him in the last week or two that we've done these.
Oh yeah.
So I don't need to talk about him. We all pretty much were banking on him going in the top 10. Minnesota was one of the most likely teams for him to go to. I think everybody kind of saw this coming, whether you like it or not. But Bo Nix to Denver at 12? Can we talk about that quarterback room? Do you believe in Sean Payton that much?
No.
It's not like Drew Brees sucked when he got him. Drew Brees was a good quarterback that had a shoulder injury on his throwing arm. We can all understand why Drew Brees was considered a quarterback you can let go of when your record was so bad you knew you were going to take Eli Manning. You ended up with Phillip Rivers. Outside of the 2 Super Bowls, statistically, you got the better quarterback in the regular season. So you made your playoffs. You got even to an AFC championship game. You just had to deal with Tom Brady. I mean, not many teams can say they dealt with Tom Brady and ended up on the winning side. So it is what it is. Ironically enough, that Giants team that Eli did. No, not that year. I don't think it was that year. Because that wasn't their undefeated season. But anyway.
Giants beat them in the Super Bowl in their undefeated season.
No, I know, but I don't think it was Chargers, Patriots in the AFC Championship game during their undefeated season.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I don't think it was that season. I mean, there's this amazing thing called Google. We can look it up, but if I do that, I'll get distracted, go down a rabbit hole, start watching videos, and stop talking to you. So I don't think you want that.
No.
But the Denver Broncos quarterback room, like when you think about, like you put in your mind, did you even think Bo Nix was a top 15 draft pick in this year's NFL
I didn't
draft?
think him or Penix would go before 24. Like, I thought some team was going to trade back into the first round to maybe get one of these guys late in the round. But the both of them going top 12, not even top 15, top 12. You got to be kidding me. I mean, I just think that this is the overhype we talk about. We all understand that it's the most important position in football or in sports in general, they say. But not every one of them is a winner. And it's hard to find guys who come in and play well at the next level. And certain guys got it, and certain guys don't. And certain years, there are more guys that got it than don't. And this is a year where most don't. And I'm sorry to say it, but Caleb Williams, the first thing I want to say to anybody who says Caleb Williams deserved to be the number 1 overall pick, When have the Bears ever been able to not only draft a QB, but develop a QB? When has a QB ever gone to the Bears and gotten better? When has a QB from the Bears? I mean, even Rex Grossman. They had Rex Grossman take them to a Super Bowl. Why? Because their defense was crazy good.
Amazing.
You got to go back before that to what Jim McMahon doing the Super Bowl shuffle. I mean, they are not known for developing quarterbacks. So to me, why they wouldn't keep Fields and draft a guy like Harrison Jr. to come in and give that offense an instant boost, that to me would have been more valuable because then they could have used that 9th pick on one of those top offensive linemen to help protect Fields. But instead, they draft a quarterback. And the one that everybody hyped for the last 2 years, Caleb Williams. Guy who was, I don't think he's ever beaten a team over 500, I think. It's something like some weird stat like that. We'd have to look that up. But I'm pretty sure it's something weird like that. He's also average at best, in my opinion. Like, I don't see the next coming of Patrick Mahomes here. I don't see the next coming of Tom Brady here. I think he's a guy who looks really good on paper, who had a lot of hype behind him in college, but did he win national championships? Did he do it? No, I get it that he was a Heisman guy, but to me, his stats...
Look at that pro comp. No, get the hell out of here. Matt Miller on ESPN.com gives Caleb Williams a pro comparison to Aaron Rodgers. So he's saying Caleb Williams is comparable.
No, Aaron Rodgers dropped in the draft and developed a big-ass chip on his shoulder that helped him become Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't spoon-fed the number 1 overall pick. And, this kid doesn't come in with that same chip or that same fire. I can remember watching that draft and then putting the camera on Rodgers as he's not getting picked pick by pick. And he dropped to number 20 or 22 or something like that.
Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20, I think it was 22 or 23, I think.
Yeah, but he was supposed to go way higher. He fell. And I think that because of that, he developed that chip that carried him on. He needed that chip on his shoulder. He got that chip on his shoulder. Caleb Williams has no chip. Caleb Williams is going to a team that's not known for developing quarterbacks.
I am not expecting much. Some talented skill players. Yes, they're on the one of them's getting older, but I mean DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett.
And then they took Rome Odunze with the 9th pick, right?
Yeah, so I mean they're putting an offense around him. Their offensive line still remains extremely questionable in my opinion, but still.
Like I don't mind the pick of Odunze. I really don't, but I just mind that first pick because one, you already had Fields there. You probably could have re-signed Fields for cheaper than you're gonna,
I mean, they got a 4th round pick for him.
Yeah, something like that.
Or a 6th, I don't know, something. It was not a.
It wasn't high. I can tell you, it wasn't a 1st round pick. But just think about that. Fields is a guy who, for part of certain seasons last year, years before, had flashes of being able to be a pretty mobile quarterback, good quarterback, but would get different things, whether it was skill players going down or he went down or other things. I think they gave up on him too soon, and I think that if they would have drafted a little bit different, I think the Bears could have been different, but instead they fell into the trap of, oh my God, everybody's saying this quarterback's generational, and he's not. And again, maybe I'll eat my words 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now as Caleb Williams lights up the board and the Bears win multiple Super Bowls. Maybe I'll have to eat my words, and I'll do that if I need to, but I'm going to die on this hill. I think this is a bad number 1 overall pick for the Bears. Although I do like their 9th pick, Rome Odunze, because at least they give him a little bit. But who's protecting for him? And when have the Bears ever been able to develop a quarterback? So I look at this as another 1st overall bust, future bust. But again, maybe Williams proves me wrong. Maybe the Bears prove me wrong. But track record tells me I'm probably going to be on the right side of things there.
I mean, history does favor you, my friend. And I got to say, honestly, I agree with everything you actually said. I prefer to disagree with you because it's more fun, but I said it before the draft got here, and I've said it for almost a year now. I don't think the Bears made the right decision in the long run. I think the Steelers being able to have a guy like Fields now sit behind a veteran like Russell Wilson, have a coach like Mike Tomlin, the Bears in a couple years are going to look back, and I think we're going to talk a lot more about Justin Fields playing for the Steelers than we talk about Caleb Williams playing for the Bears. I believe that. I really do. So I'll die on that hill, and we'll see. A couple years from now, well, by that point being my early 40s, so cool. Yay! But yeah, no, I mean, overall though, like, I think Caleb Williams will have some fun games, right? Like, I think his rookie year it will have some entertainment to it because we all know rookie quarterbacks that have skill will have a pretty good first year. Some have great first years, but keep in mind, right? Peyton Manning threw over 23, I think he threw 23 interceptions in his first season, and that was a 16-game season.
Yeah, and I think he was, 3-13. He had a bad first year.
That's what I mean, right? And we saw what his career turned into, right? 2 Super Bowls, Hall of Famer, record holder. And
I won't judge him by year one,
but
per se.
It's that year 2, right? Year 2, to me, is where you, like, so, for example, the kid in Houston, Stroud.
Yep.
Right? Like, what an amazing first year. Houston was fun to watch. Like, I can't deny it. Like, they were fun to watch. They're
going to be fun for the next few years.
Oh, yeah. I completely agree with that. But this coming year is going to be the year where you figure out, is Stroud a guy that is projecting fully, up? Or does he still have room to grow and needs to develop some more? Now the defense coordinators have a full season. They know the coaching staff in Houston now and how Ryans is running his team and what the coordinators like. So they now have an understanding of how that team's going to operate, which is going to make it more of a challenge for him. And I think he's going to be fine. I'll say that much. I don't think he's going to have a bad year, but I also don't think he might not have the year he had this year either. So, but Caleb Williams will have some fun and put up some stats here and there. But
speaking of putting up stats, how does Brock Bowers put up any stats with the Raiders? Because who's throwing him the ball? Like, I get that they kind of lost out on
O'Donnell. That's their boy right there. And they just took a tight end last year with the 2nd or 3rd overall pick in the 2nd round. So, I mean, you pair him. Oh, yeah, Michael Meyer from Notre Dame. I mean, you put the two of them together. I mean, like, you have a quarterback that's not that good. So now you have tight end's a quarterback's best friend, right? I mean, they say it all the damn time. So, yeah, I don't hate the pick, man. And I don't think Aiden O'Donnell's anybody special, but I think that combo of the two tight ends could make his life easier and give them the ability to run the ball pretty well. For those listening and not watching, the look Eric just gave me was that of, really?
Yeah. So we're going to leave it there because I just don't feel the same way. I look at this as kind of a wasted pick and a wasted talent because I just... He's a great player. He's going to do good things, but he's not going to make a difference enough for the Raiders to actually win or lose ball games. So, yeah. So moving on, this is where we finally get our first defensive player, though. 15.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that talking about the draft.
Oh wait, no, or did no, I think that was 15. The first 15.
15 with the
Lualato. Something of that nature.
Yeah, no, you're
yeah,
close.
From USC. I know
Dresser.
Alabama used to have a lot too. I wonder if they're related, brothers, cousins, maybe. It's an interesting last name. But anyway, Latu was projected to come out pretty high. One of the better defensive players on the board. Finally comes off number 15 to the Colts, who... I look at this, not a bad pick. Again, I think anybody who waited and was patient, you're going to get your pick of defensive players, especially late in the draft. That's why, you knew that, we're not there yet, but the Ravens pick, didn't they take, who'd they take? Nate Wiggins, a cornerback out of Clemson. Defense. That you expect them to go defense. You expected the Eagles, with the losses they had on the defensive side of the ball, to go defense. You expected, a team like Miami, who didn't have any edge rushers, to go after defense. So they kind of all lucked out in this draft because they were able to just sit and wait for their guy. And they were able to and I'm sure they had a couple of them on the board, but for the most part, if you were patient, you had your pick of the litter pretty much defensively. So this was, like we talked about before, we got on, record-setting draft for offensive players. 23 offensive players?
23 out of
blows
32.
the old record, because I think the old record was 19.
That I don't know, but
I'm
I know
pretty sure it was 19.
23 out of 32 picks were offense. The first 14 picks, which tied a record, were all offense. But speaking of offense, I don't know how great a hands this man has, but he set the NFL Combine record doing the 40-yard dash. They showed him playing in games, hitting 22, almost 23 miles per hour with the ball in his hands. And he gets to the Chiefs at 28. Is that not the most Chiefs draft pick?
But again,
give me speed.
Well, but they just lost Rice. I'm not anticipating Rice showing up anytime soon. That man's he's gonna be he should be suspended by the league at some point.
At some point, yeah.
If not, a jail time or whatever. I mean, you're just crashing Lamborghinis with, walking away with guns and people videotaping. There's all bad scenes happening there. So we're gonna try to not.
Nothing you want to write home about.
So I think that this is just like, who's the next Rashid Rice?
Yeah.
Who's just as fast as and who can get out there to get the ball? Like, who can, that's all we need. Can you break containment? Can you get past the secondary? You're our guy. So
and they added Hollywood Brown, who, when healthy, is a really good wide receiver. Like,
they still have Juju too, don't they? And Valdez-Scantling, or no?
I think no, they cut Valdez-Scantling.
They did?
Yeah, okay. I mean, how could you not? I mean, he had the huge catch in the Super Bowl. But
he had a couple of huge drops too.
Yeah, bro, like 1 out of 4 catches is not good enough to be on a team like that. So, but that one really, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I mean, overall, like, let's bring this full circle before we move on to the other things that we can cover today. We have to talk about the teams that we root for, right? Like, it's only right to, I mean, the motivation to even do something like this comes from the passion that we have for the teams that we root for. So I'm not in a good place on my end. So I kind of feel like you should go first.
All right, I'll go first.
So this way, anybody that's watching or listening can say to themselves, when Eric's done talking, I may just stop listening or watching because I don't want to hear Dave bitch and moan about his Cowboys. So just this way, we give everybody a
But I don't know why you think I'm going to be so chipper, though, is the thing. Because, like, I'm okay. I'm not happy. I'm not, like, absolutely stunned by all this. Neighbors. We'll start there. I'm okay. We didn't get Harrison Jr. or Alt. We could have had Alt. We didn't take him. Or no, Alt went 5.
Alt went to 5. The Chargers. I was pissed as hell about that.
So we didn't have a chance at all. We didn't have a chance at Harrison Jr. I would have preferred trading back. But taking Neighbors, the only thing that worries me is he's very similar to somebody they drafted last year in Jalen Hyatt. So now we have 2 guys that are just pure speed. I get it but we need to now do something with that. Because otherwise, I don't want to waste a first-round draft pick. Odell, great. A lot of LSU receivers come out and do really well.
Yes.
They have a great track record. They play in a really tough conference. I'm all about the SEC and playing tough schools and big-time games. And he's been there. He's done that. So I think he's going to come in and make a good offensive impact for the Giants. So I can't hate the pick. Everything else, I'm just about. I'm not even okay. I'm just like, not the moves I would have made. If you look at it, they drafted no linemen whatsoever. 0 picks on the offensive or defensive line. Do we, even if it's not for Daniel Jones, wouldn't you want to draft somebody to protect whoever the next guy is? Wouldn't you want to start working on that? Wouldn't you want to get 2 or 3 new offensive or defensive linemen in there? I just struggled to find how this draft truly benefits the team other than neighbors. And maybe these guys all turn into superstars. Maybe they're seeing something I don't see. But I would have went, and especially in a draft where we talked about was line heavy, where there was a lot of depth, where people are saying that they're like wide receiver and line, they were talking about there's a lot of depth in this draft. We got none of it. That worries me. So as a Giant fan, that's where I'm at, because we had a lot of holes to fill. Like the tight end out of Penn State, nice, but did we need him? I mean, or is that an indication that Waller's retiring and being done with this team? Because obviously he's not going to win in the next couple of years unless he's really just, kind of going to come and collect a paycheck. What is the need to really draft a tight end right now? It's moves like that. I don't question the move to draft a running back late. Because, okay, great. We lost Saquon. You want to bring in some young talent? I'm fine with that. It's the other picks in between. Like I said, I got a problem with neighbors. I got a problem with pretty much every other pick, because why did we not go any offensive line or any defensive line?
What about the linebacker? I mean, is he somebody that can play edge? I mean, a 7th round pick. So
yeah, that's where I'm at. He's just he's a guy who's looking to get. I don't know if he's going to make the team coming out of the draft. Coming out of training.
Led UCLA in tackles the past 2 years. Led his transfer there from Hawaii. Led Hawaii in tackles each of those 2 years.
I'm rooting for him. Listen, I want him to be good. I want the Giants to do well. I just don't love the draft. I'm wait and see.
Of course.
I'm still trusting Dable, and I'm trusting Shane, and I'm trusting these guys to do what they need to do and to use their talent evaluation, because Gettleman, I know, sucked at it, so I'm good with not having him or McAdoo or we haven't had good talent evaluators lately. I need to put some faith into these guys to show me a couple of drafts worth of guys that they brought in, because I'm questioning this one.
You don't know the actual success or failure of a draft class until their 3rd year. Like, that's really when you know, right? So, like you said, you wait and see, and we see what happens. But, I mean, I think I like the neighbors pick, but it boils down to who's throwing him the ball, and then when that person is trying to throw the ball, who's protecting him. The safety pick, I mean, you're basically trying to replace Xavier McKinney and hoping this kid works out. You never can have too many corners, so I don't hate that at the 3. I mean, I'm just talking off a position. That's it. I don't want anybody out there thinking I'm some guy that studied tape and knows everything about these guys. The running back, you fill that need. The linebacker, I mean, look, the Giants, that one of their weakest spots is their linebacking core. Like, they really don't have linebackers that make anybody nervous. So, I mean, as a 7th round or 6th round pick, who the hell knows? But like you said, you just gotta wait and see, and you just hope that your team picked the right guys. So we'll have to just wait and see. Is there anything do you wish that they traded, like, based off of how the draft unfolded? Do you wish they traded back simply just to get one of the other offensive linemen, or if you were going to take a tight end, maybe take Bowers in the 1st round?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was looking at our chat real quick, and Carl chimed in that, yes, he was hoping for an O-lineman too. So I know he feels my pain here with this draft. But one more time with that question.
Do you simply just wish they traded back and took any of the other offensive linemen? Was there an offensive lineman that when you heard their name get called, you thought to yourself, man, I wish the Giants just traded back to like the spot before that and they took that guy? Or
Probably
was
the
it
guy
just...
who the Jets took. I got to be honest, the offensive lineman out of Penn State, like I said, like you alluded to before, they're a solid school who has a great track record with producing great NFL talent who seem to, the pedigree's there. I would have probably liked to have traded back and maybe got him, especially since Alt was off the board. That's where my mind would have went. But at the same time, I can't hate the Neighbors pick because some people were saying he could have been number 1 in the draft over Harrison as far as wide receivers go. I never saw that. I thought Harrison Jr. was the number 1 overall pick in general.
Yeah.
Or number 1 talent in the draft. But Neighbors, a lot of people had him up there with him. And like I said, I think he's going to do good things. I just need to, I guess, have a little bit of faith. But the rest of this draft just doesn't bolster that faith. So...
Oh, we'll see where things are at 3 years from now. I mean, that's literally all you can say.
Right?
Yeah,
So yeah, let me hear. Lay it on with your Cowboys here, because I don't know how you really can't like the first pick. You're getting an offensive tackle. You're going to get somebody to protect, and from there, I don't know, where does it fall apart for you? What do you feel?
The biggest need that they had to me were two offensive line spots, and then running back position. Now, it is believed that Guyton is a starting caliber left tackle in the NFL. Just not yet. Cool. It is believed that Cooper Beebe can transition from guard to center, but is a mauler and a beast. Cool. So we took 2 guys to fill 2 of the most important positions on an entire NFL roster that you're hoping are ready to start week 1 in the NFL. The defensive edge, he's considered a very, very close comparison to what DeMarcus Lawrence was coming out of college. Cool. Doesn't mean he's DeMarcus Lawrence. You get to the linebacker from Notre Dame, he's literally my favorite pick. So that means the guy they took in the late 3rd round is the first guy that I was genuinely happy with the pick. And they do not touch the running back position.
Oh, whoa. Yes, they did.
Oh, my.
Yes, they did. They brought back Zeke. Zeke's back in the D, baby. He's back in the D. As Andy would say.
How about that D, baby?
You know what the worst part about Zeke being back on the Cowboys? They cut him because of how much money he cost.
He's back in a discount, baby.
Between the dead money that counts against their salary cap that's still left over from him being cut, plus the money that they're paying him this year, makes him the 8th highest paid running back in the NFL this year. Even though he's not getting all of the money, when it comes down to Dallas' salary cap, it still makes him the 8th highest paid running back in the league.
But that's not his fault.
No, it's the idiot. It's the
That's
idiots.
not his fault. Don't blame him for that.
It's making the decisions, aka Jerry fucking Jones. Excuse my language. That's the problem. They're thinking they can go running back by committee. When was the last time you saw a team have 3-4 different running backs that they put in the game and be successful? It's called two-headed monster, not 4.
I mean, I'll be honest though. The only team I've seen do it, but they only did it because of injuries, and they had to keep cycling people in, but they just kept working. It seemed like the Dolphins. Didn't the Dolphins have like 3 or 4 guys that just like popped off last year? Whether it be Achan or
I mean, they had
Mozart, and then they seem like they were a running back by whoever was healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, like when you have a really good offensive line, that's doable. But you have 2 rookies that you're planning on starting in positions that you're assuming they're going to be ready by week 1. You did not extend your quarterback. You have not extended CeeDee Lamb. You are literally just, in my opinion, what I genuinely think they're doing is they're basically trying to let this season play out. They'll still be a good football team. They're still going to, I still believe if they stay healthy for the most part, they're a playoff team. But they are without a doubt another one and done because they won't be able to beat teams like San Francisco or Philly or Green Bay or maybe Atlanta. Like, they won't be able to beat those teams in a playoff game. And that, to me, like, if Vegas comes out with a Dallas's win total over under at 8.5 or 9, I am taking the over in a heartbeat, and I am not a betting man. They can win at least 9, probably 10 or 11 games. Like, they are still a good football team. But the way they like, to me, but they had to get the offensive lineman. They got lucky to trade back a couple picks, which actually got them the 24th pick to take the one guy I'm happy they took. But overall, there's nothing about this draft nor this offseason that makes me confident in what Dallas can do when it matters most this coming NFL season. And it especially makes me concerned about what's going to happen after this year. Look, younger people can hate on Dak all they want. But the fact that we've gotten, Dallas fans have had Romo and Dak, even though it's led to no Super Bowls and no playoff runs, to be able to have 18, 19 years of entertaining quarterback play is not something many teams can say they enjoyed. And I remember the Drew Henson, Quincy Carter, when I celebrated the fact they got Drew Bledsoe coming off of an injury because Tom Brady turned into Tom freaking Brady. Like, I celebrated that. That's how bad their quarterback played. A 36-year-old Drew Bledsoe coming off of an injury, and I'm like, yay. Like, the younger Cowboys fans and those people that are like, get Dak out, those are the idiots to me that just think you just, every time you need a quarterback, you can get lucky and find one in the 4th round. You can get lucky and get an undrafted one that can give you 8 Pro Bowl seasons. Like, I don't know why this thought process runs in Cowboys fans' heads. Makes no sense to me. The Green Bay Packers are the only assholes that can actually say, yeah, no, we'll just find a quarterback. Trade for Favre in the 80s, get him all the way to the early 2000s. Look at Aaron Rodgers falling down the draft. We'll take him. Oh, let's ride this river. Oh, look, Jordan Love fell down the draft. We'll take him. And now they got another quarterback for another 10, 15 years.
Well, I just want to...
Sorry.
No, I want to just go back one more step for you because you only went back to Favre. But you totally negating Bart Starr.
Bart Starr. The first Super Bowl champion ever.
So I mean, they did have Bart Starr first. I want to give the love where the love's due. If you're going to give it to the quarterbacks, give it to the full list of quarterbacks. And
at that point, they had to go through like 8 to 10 years of not having like a great quarterback playing quarterback, and then here's this Brett Favre guy.
No, they traded for him. They traded Atlanta for him.
Oh, I know.
The 90s. And then from there, it's just been one after another. And again, like you said, very few teams can do that. The Bears can't do that. That's why I can't. So.
Talk about bringing the draft full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Perfectly executed by Mr. Erich Treslar.
What's up Tim, the Fighting Irish 57 in the chat.
What's up, Tim?
Joining us and talking. Yeah, so I was seeing if you had. It's almost playoff hockey time, Carl. We're getting there. We're gonna talk some playoff hockey. We're gonna talk some Nick playoff too. But I love what the Rangers do. Sweep, baby, sweep. But we'll get there. But yeah, as far as draft goes, I didn't have much else for you anyway. I know when we'll get Joey in here, we'll make sure to touch back on the draft again because I want to get his thoughts on the Jets draft. We touched on that first round pick, but I want to see what he felt. Did you see that one text I sent you guys? Neither of you guys responded, but I believe it was the Jets' last pick of the draft. And none of you guys responded to this text. I got to look up his name again because
I literally have no recollection of this.
Yeah. Look, I sent it. Go ahead.
Which one am I reading right
now?
The
last one that nobody replied to.
Quantez Stiggers? Oh, because I probably thought you were just drunk and just ignored you. I was like, Eric's just drinking beers on his patio.
No. I don't know who Quantez Stiggers is, but he's, I believe, the last pick there for the Jets. I could be wrong. Go scroll over to the Jets real quick. Let's take a look at that. Because he was, I think, their last pick, and I was like, what in the hell are they doing, Joey?
The
second
to last pick.
Out of the Toronto Argonauts. That's why. He's a special kid. Apparently, he didn't play much, and then he went to, the CFL, and now, after 1 year in the CFL, he got drafted in the NFL.
All right. I mean, 5'11", 203, that's a little small for a corner in today's NFL, but...
But I mean, he didn't play much other than that. And I think, know who he played for? I'm sorry, now I'm remembering the story and why I texted you guys. He played for the Fan Football League.
The Fan Football?
His mother talked him into playing. He had never played football before. His mother talked him into playing in the Fan Football League, which is the one that's run by Terrell Owens and whatever else, where the fans can pick the plays and whatever. He played in that for a year. And then got drafted by the Argonauts in the CFL. And then played a year in the CFL, and now has gotten drafted in the NFL. And I was like, what in the hell did the Jets see in this kid who a couple of years ago was playing in the Fan Football League?
I mean, that's a hell of a story, though. I mean, you got to be doing something right.
It's quite the gamble to take. Plus, you just saw he's on the smaller side. It's not like a couple hits. I don't know if he's ready for an NFL hit, to be honest with you.
I mean, Quantez Stiggers may just end up a Hall of Fame corner, bro. Maybe he ends up the next Darrelle Revis. Could you imagine?
Or maybe he ends up back on the Toronto Argonauts.
Or maybe he ends up on the Toronto Argonauts by halfway through the season. Who knows?
He'll be on the Jets practice squad by week 1.
Let's root for Mr. Stiggers. If they do... What's the HBO football show? Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks?
They do Hard Knocks. Quantez is going to be the guy that the camera crew makes a superstar out of. I mean, I remember the year they did that in Dallas, it was Danny Amendola, undrafted, free agent.
But when was the last great player out of the CFL?
I don't know.
I
never? Maybe? It could be. It could be a guy from last year. Who the hell knows? I mean, I don't think so. I don't know. I can't. I don't know if any CFL players have ever had a successful NFL career, but there's always going to be a first, my friend. There's always going to be a first. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
especially in football.
And we're rooting for Stiggers to be the first.
I want Stiggers to be the first, baby. Let's go. I'm all for it. I apologize. I didn't. I literally just was like, "What the fuck?" I read that and I definitely just put my phone down. I was like,
I messaged. I was like, "What is this pick?"
I'm like, I don't know what.
And I thought maybe Joey would at least respond because I'm like, maybe even if he's working, whatever, he'd look at it after work, see who they drafted. Because I'll be honest, and you can be honest too. I watched part of the first round. Watched my pick, watched a few things, but really was flipping back and forth between it. I mostly had the Knick game on, mostly had other things on. Was not really I was paying attention to the draft, Twitter, whatever else, ESPN, but not necessarily X. I'm sorry, but not necessarily like watching every second of it. Then Friday came, I just literally followed on my phone. Friday came, I'm like, I'm not watching 2 and 3 take 6 hours to go through, because the first round was 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours for one round. That's a bit absurd. I don't care how many commercial breaks you need to take to get your advertising money and how long you want to stretch each pick out for so everybody can ooh and
That's what I mean.
over
They'll say pick is in, and then they talk for 5 more minutes before Goodell walks up.
Yeah, it's absurd. I mean, the opening was all right. You know, I like bringing Barry back. I like bringing some of the Detroit people back. I mean, I'm going on stage. Cool, whatever. Didn't hate it. Thought the little thing before they did, the little skit they did was
a little spaghetti.
A little bit cringy, a little bit like, but at the same time, something I could definitely see the owners and Roger Goodell putting together.
Yeah, so, if we're being honest, none of them are going to Hollywood anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, so I didn't pay attention to rounds 2 and 3, and then by the weekend, I literally watched nothing on Saturday. By Sunday afternoon, I just went on my phone. I was like, all right, that's who they took in the later rounds. Like, give me your draft experience, and then we're gonna kick this into playoffs.
So I think my draft experience will perfectly transition us into playoff hockey and playoff basketball. Is the fact that round 1 I watched at Miller's Ale House so that I could watch the Knicks game, and I had the Panthers Lightning game on. They had the Yankees game on, and then they had the draft on. So overall, if you include that experience, I still think my eyes were on the television, focused on the draft for maybe 12 minutes all weekend. The majority of that was when I saw the breaking news that the Eagles extended A.J. Brown. That I was reading the bottom line more than I was paying attention to the draft. Just simply due to the fact I knew how late Dallas picked, so I knew I was going to be home because I knew the Rangers or the Knicks game was going to be over before the Cowboys picked. So I knew I was going to be home before that. I really just didn't care. I knew Caleb Williams was going 1. I knew that the Washington. It was like, and like you said, you follow on Twitter.
They had to pick.
Bro, it's like 10 minutes before Goodell walks on stage, and Twitter's like, and Washington's taking blah blah blah, and then New England's got this guy, and I'm like, why even focus on this? So every 10 minutes, I'd pull up my phone, scroll Twitter, catch up on the last 2 draft picks that took place, or 1 if I was looking every 10 minutes. And yeah, I focused. I mean, because the Knicks Sixers game was a good game, the Lightning Panthers game was a good game. So I had
transitioning there. Got the Rangers breaking out the brooms, baby. Yeah, I mean,
Washington.
First round sweep, break it out.
Washington looked like they had no right being on the ice with the Rangers. They really. I mean, game 4 they played tough. Like they did not want their season to end, but the amount of how much better the Rangers just looked overall than Washington. Like, I think anything less than a sweep would have actually been disappointing, to be honest. And I think that's fair to say, just how much better they looked in all the games. Game 4 was the only game where Washington really kept it a close, tough game. The Rangers just pulled away in all 3 of them. I mean, the first period of the first game was a slow start, 0-0, and then I think the Rangers dropped 4 goals in the second period and ran with that one. Like, every game at some point, the Rangers just took over, and they clearly look like the better team, and whoever they face next is going to be up for a hell of a challenge because the Rangers just look tough.
They look good right now. Goaltending's been solid. They're scoring when they're getting the opportunities. And yeah, I mean, this too gives them what I like is that at least the Islanders won a game. So now it forces that series to be a little bit longer. I'm not sure if they play tonight. I think they might. The Isles checked out the scores. I think are the Isles tonight as well, or did they play last night?
No, I think the Isles are eliminated.
Nope, they're on right now.
They're playing right now down 2-1.
It's 3-1. Yeah, it's 3-1 in the series. But if they pull it out, even by them just extending it to this game, moves the series out and gives the Rangers an extra day or two of rest.
There you go.
And I'm all for that. At this point in the season, your bodies are beat up. You just went through, I know it was a sweep, but why not get your guys a little bit more rest? Why not get a little bit more practice in? I don't know if they're going to bring like Hedl back. Supposedly he's been traveling with the team. He's been practicing with the team. I don't know what they're going to do there. You may see Rempe get taken out of the lineup if they do put Cheadle in. So I'm not sure how they're going to go about the next series, but I'm a big fan of what the Rangers are doing right now, and their goaltending is going to be a big reason why I think they can, possibly make a run. And this seems to be a special kind of year for New York fans and New York people in general. It's been 30 years since we've had the Rangers and the Knicks both this good, together. And that is special. And I look around the league, and there are some other tough teams out there.
Carolina is going to be a matchup for them. Man.
Yeah.
But that is going to be a great series to watch because both teams play very similar hockey. And look, technically the Islanders are still alive. I mean, they win tonight. We're going to Game 6. And when you get ahead like the Hurricanes have on the Islanders, every game you lose adds a different level of pressure. So I won't count the Islanders out just yet. 2-1 with 12:58 left in the first, but I think the Hurricanes are going to take this game, and if not, take it in Game 6. But the Rangers Hurricanes is going to be an amazing series to watch.
Oh yeah, I think it could be really good. But going even out west, you look at there's some things getting turned on their head out west. With the Stars tied up in a 2-2 series with the Golden Knights, Knights, coming in as much lower seed, but getting hot at the right time. So could they put it to the Stars and knock a 1 seed out like that? I don't know. Same thing with the Avalanche, up 3-1 over the Winnipeg Jets.
That series has been so much fun to watch. I've watched almost every game at like almost the full game. Like, I mean, their first game I think ended 7-5. Like it was nuts. Like that has been a fun series to watch. But Colorado has just been able to kind of get that moment where they swing momentum in their favor and they're able to take the win. So, but that has been a very fun series to watch. Do we got some hockey input?
We do. Timmy thrown in the chat. You don't want a long break in between series, though. It feels like it hurts more than it helps. I agree. Don't want a long break, but that's why if the Islanders just even extending it by that one game, making the Hurricanes play a little bit extra, I'd love to see the Islanders win tonight and just push it to that Game 6 again. But I think we're all in agreement that the Hurricanes are going to win this series overall. So again, I'm with you. I wouldn't want to see it go to 7, so I wouldn't want that long a break either. So I'm hoping they wrap it up a little bit quicker than that, but that the Islanders put enough pressure on them to, wear them down just a little bit for us next season. Carl
don't say next season. Next round.
Next round.
Yeah, don't do that to yourself.
Carl throws in the chat, let's go Rangers. Hope they go 7 to wear them down. Again, I think 7 might just give the Rangers too long a break. I think 6 is the right number.
You want to ride that wave. I get that. I mean,
plus, you don't want a hot Hurricane team then coming in with the momentum of winning a Game 7 and feeling good about themselves. And then the next thing you know, I would just rather Hurricanes go home, wrap it up in 6, feel good about themselves, but with a little extra wear and tear, and the Rangers come in and...
I mean, I think when it's all said and done, the Rangers are going to be able to play whenever it's time. And, I mean, I think it's going to be a great series. And when we get to it, we can talk more about how they match up. But, overall, I've been enjoying it. It's just the games themselves, to me, have been very fun to watch. But if you're on the outside looking in and you haven't watched the games, you're just like, well, I mean, they're up 3-1 and they're up 3-1 and they're up 3-1. They're up 4-1. Or I'm sorry, they won the series 4-1. They won the series 4-0. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of like, so if you're not watching the games, you're like, no, this is like completely lopsided. And it's like, no, these are like all of these games for the most part have been very, very good games. And,
playoff hockey's exciting.
Well,
People are missing out if they're not watching.
And that's the thing to me, right? If you compare the first round of the NHL to the first round of the NBA, the NHL first round has been 1,000 times better. Almost I think 86% or something like that of the first round games have been won by 15 or more points. Like, this is playoff basketball. This is supposed to be competitive. Even if a team gets swept, the game should be tight. So, I mean, that's just another thing. Like, I've enjoyed watching the NHL games more than the NBA, and even just the idea of saying that a couple years ago sounds like it's something I just never would say. And now I'm sitting here, like, me and Amanda were watching. What game were we watching? What game did we watch last night? Oh, the Panthers Lightning game. We were sitting on the couch watching that together. Like, it's a complete 180 in Fife. If you're out there listening, man, I hope this brings a warmth to your heart that nobody can match, because hockey.
Hockey. How about that hockey?
Yeah, so I'll just say that. I mean, I'm not trying to get us away from hockey, or we can.
But to go to the basketball point of, I haven't watched a ton of the other games, but I've watched more Knick games than anything else, because fan, whatever. But again, the rest of it, I'm like, whatever. But man, is this Knick team fun to watch? Talk about being fun to watch. They're fun. They're old school. They're tough. They're gritty.
They
play
Tom
together.
Thibodeau team.
And like I said to you last week, this is the first team I've seen like this that plays together as a team. May not have the greatest assembly of talent on the court, but at the same time play like a team. Is that Detroit Pistons team? That's the closest thing I can think of to this Knick team, and they play hard. But you know who doesn't? And I mean, he's gonna get this.
Knuckleheaded News of the Week.
That absolute bitch. I couldn't believe that I can no longer trust the process, Dave. What an absolute bitch Joel Embiid is. And not only that, he's a dirty bitch. He is a dirty bitch, because not only does he kick guys in the nuts and do all sorts, he is the dirtiest player I've seen in a long time. Like, and this is my first time watching him in like bulk. Like, you catch him in the regular season, you're like, whatever. Like, you've heard stories about him being a dirty player, you're like, whatever. Now I'm seeing it in the fold. Knicks up 37-31 right now in the second. But what a dirty bitch. I mean, the way he pulled down Mitchell Robinson, grabbing his legs, that is one of the dirtiest things you could do. That's dirtier to me than him kicking a Harkenstein in the balls or Hart in the balls.
He should have been ejected.
You know what I mean? Like, that's, you could seriously injure somebody. Your bitch ass fell to the ground. It wasn't, you fell. And then you're going to pull him down because you're upset you didn't get a call on the other end. Now you're on the ground on this end, and you're going to be, I'm going to grab his leg. If I was Mitchell Robinson, I would have slugged him. Because but instead now Mitchell Robinson's hurt. I don't even know if he's playing tonight. He didn't play last game, and they're going to have to make some adjustments if he can't play. But that's dirty, and dirty plays shouldn't take you out of a ball game. No. I'm sorry. That, to me, is bullshit. And the fact that the league didn't address it, the league didn't suspend him, the league didn't do anything about it, really bothers me, because, it's not right. I mean, you watched that play. You watched some of what I'm talking about here, and...
I watched all of it. I literally... Everything you're talking about, I saw happen live.
Oh,
and like,
tell me you disagree. Can you disagree?
I can't. And like, what the worst part is right when I watched him initially kick Hartenstein.
I think it was Hartenstein
in the nuts. Right when I first watched it live, I'm like, dude, that wasn't on purpose. When they slow it down and you see that like he breaks his normal stride and like brings that shin up with some oomph, like, and not to mention, like, if he accidentally did that, right? We've all ran or walked and all of a sudden just took like an awkward step and kind of shook a little bit. Like, if he did that by accident, then he would have had his leg and knee wobble and probably fell to the ground because it wasn't on purpose. He just brain farted, basically. But when you see it, and I'm not talking like frame by frame. I'm talking just slow it down just a little bit. Like just a little bit. Like 80% of live action, and you can tell he purposely did it. But the grabbing of a guy's ankle while you're laying on the floor and he's trying to jump up.
There's no excuse for that.
That is, you said it perfect. That is one of the dirtiest things I've ever. That to me is right up there. Remember when Ndamukong Suh just blatantly stepped right on what's his name's nuts from the Packers, right?
Yeah.
That's up there. To me, it's a very similar thing, right? Obviously, you only get one set of those, and don't want them breaking, fracture. You don't want anything there, right? Like,
that's just I'm swinging too. If I'm Hargenstein, I'm swinging.
But
so I'm catching my breath and I'm swinging.
But to do that to it, like the number one thing, no matter how much you can hate a guy, no matter how competitive you are, athletes know there's one rule. You don't purposely try to hurt somebody. You don't do it. And something like that in a game of basketball, right? Like we remember the hit gate or whatever it was with the Saints, right? And the money was there if you hurt a guy or knock him out of the game, blah blah. But football is a game where you're meant to hit somebody, so it's easier to disguise that you're trying to hurt them. In the game of basketball, there's 100+ cameras there, 20+ thousand people. There's a 40-foot big screen TV over your head, and you're just going to grab a guy by his ankle while he tries to jump and try to pull him back down? Nah, that to me is some...
A message to Joel Embiid from the GOAT here on Die on This Hill.
Stop it. Get some help.
Honestly,
still love that one.
Get some help, because you're about to lose this series. You're bitching that the New York fans came down and took over the building. Yeah. Again, by the way, Game 3 that they won, you could get tickets for they didn't even sell out, and you could have got tickets. You could have got in and saw a playoff game and they won the game for $35 or for $50 or more. I think it was $50-$60. You can find a ticket to get in that arena.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. By the second playoff, by the time they won that game, Game 4, tickets jumped back up. But by then, all the Knicks fans had already jumped on them. And it's not that far a drive to Philly.
Nah, 2 hours.
And, pick up a cheesesteak along the way, maybe pick up one for the way back.
You make a day out of it.
Exactly. You go down there, you stick it to Philly, and then you drive home. It's great. Well, it's not your fault. I'm sad by the fan. I don't care what you are. Then be better. Have your team be better. But again, if that's the type of guy you are, and that's the type of play you're going to have on the court, then to be honest, I'm okay with the fans not really supporting you. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. So the Knicks hopefully wrap this up either tonight or Game 6. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on the playoffs so far. I mean, to me, the Nuggets just out west, they're going to be the team. I don't care if they're a 2 seed. They're coming out of the West. They look too good. They kicked the crap out of LA. I loved watching LeBron kind of cry. Plus, he came out and said, I don't know if you caught this, that they asked him flat out, you're going to be here next year? And he was like, I'm not answering that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, because wherever he goes, I'm sure he's going to want to go wherever Bronny Jr.'s going.
Yeah.
So, he's going to keep it real tight to the vest, and, he's going to go where he wants to go. Maybe that's still LA. I don't know, but as his team is currently constituted, I don't think they can win a final. I don't think they're and now he said, look at us when we were healthy. Look at what we did in the play-in tournament, or not the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament that they started this year, and that's the potential we could have. But again,
nobody cared about that fucking
nobody
thing.
cared about it.
I didn't even know when the games were being played.
It was a joke.
Literally had no clue. Apparently you had to, the court was different when they were playing an in-game tournament. That's how you knew.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I had literally they were playing the games and I had no idea. What I will say is this: the Nuggets own the Lakers. The Lakers just do not match up well with them. LeBron is still great at the game of basketball. Anthony Davis is still one of the most disappointing great players I've ever watched play the game. He can be so freaking good and then completely disappear. So The Nuggets they just match up. Or the Lakers just cannot match up with the Nuggets the right way. When I look at the West as a whole, the Clippers Mavericks is your dream playoff series. They hate each other. They're beefing. There's been pushing. There's been shoving. There's guys standing there giving each other dirty looks on the court to talk shit.
What happened? Russell Westbrook, something with him too?
He got like a flagrant or a technical 2 techs and kicked out. I don't know. This series has been one of those series. Great physical playoff basketball. The Thunder owned the Pelicans. Pelicans without Zion Williamson, they were done. The Thunder, to me, will probably go 7 with either the Clippers or Mavericks. Depending on who advances and how they advance will let me know who I'd actually pick in that series. Minnesota sweeping the Suns. Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal. Oh, and let's not forget Devin Booker. And they got swept. And for the most part, weren't even competitive in most of these games. What an embarrassment by Phoenix, and what a statement series win, in my opinion, by Minnesota. And when I say statement, not because of really who they beat, but how they beat them, how they were able to play the physical game and the mental game of basketball. When you look at that roster, and
I think we can have a good way to sum up how this series went for them.
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
I think that's a pretty good way to describe how the Suns are feeling right now because, like you said, they have the big three there with Booker, Beal, and Durant, and to get swept in the first round, are you really going to run it back?
Yeah, I don't see how they can. I literally just don't see how they can, because what an embarrassment. And again, I am not trying to take away from Minnesota and their skills and the talent that they have on that team. But Phoenix not even winning one game is, how do you say it, right? It's just embarrassing. I don't know how else to say it. It is literally embarrassing. But Minnesota, with the roster that they have, they're going to match up really, really well with Denver. And they're going to be a team that legitimately can give Denver all they can handle. Jokic takes advantage by being bigger and seeing the court better than everybody. They're going to have Karl Anthony Towns to be able to throw at him with the athleticism, make Jokic have to play defense all the way out to the perimeter. Anthony Davis can't do that.
So you're telling me that in this next round, you're going to take Minnesota?
I am not telling you that. When we get to the next round, and
no, it is the next round. They're matched up already. They're there.
But
it's the Nuggets versus T-Wolves. Who?
No.
You're not calling it yet.
I'm not. I am letting.
Because I'm dying on this hill. The Nuggets are coming out of the West. I'm dying on it. Stick a flag in it. Stick a fork in it. I'm done.
I think that's an actually pretty easy hill to die on. Because I definitely don't think the Thunder can beat them. The Mavericks actually took them 3-1 in the season series, but I don't think the Mavericks can beat them in the playoffs. The Clippers, I just don't trust that roster to hold up and be able to make it all the way through the playoffs. So I don't think it's a very risky hill you're dying on. I feel like it's maybe more like a little bump in the ground that you're dying on. But by all means, you can confidently
dying on it.
You can plant that flag right in that little divot. That's right there. But when you look at the East, right, and first and foremost, before I go to the East, I just want to say Anthony Edwards is a freaking beast. I just love how he plays basketball. He definitely.
How long has he been in the league?
I think he's in his third year. I believe it's his third year because D Wade, he won his NBA championship in his third year. Is that right?
Maybe.
Okay, because somebody was comparing Anthony Edwards and D Wade when they were talking about like some of the best shooting guards at a young age, and I think D Wade basically was an MVP of the NBA Finals in like his third year, and that was like they were saying like this is the type of bar he's trying to live up to. So either way, Anthony Edwards is a beast, great player, love watching him play. It's awesome. But when you look at the East, I just feel bad. Well, not really because screw them, but I kind of feel bad for the Milwaukee Bucks fans, right? Giannis gets hurt the week before the playoff starts. Then you have, wow, I'm drawing a blank here. Oh, sorry, game 3, Damian Lillard gets hurt when it's still a 1-1 or 2-1 series. Then in game 4, Bobby Portis gets ejected in the first quarter, and then Middleton goes down with an injury, and he's out for the rest of the game. Like, Milwaukee with a healthy roster is good enough to beat the Pacers.
Health.
Bobby Portis is
matters.
not going to be able to carry this team if Middleton, Lillard, and Giannis can't play. This series is over without a doubt in my mind. So I feel bad for Bucks fans in some form or fashion, but good for the Pacers. They're a young team, and if you're a Knicks fan, you're hoping that you get
49-43 Knicks at the half.
Well, actually, the Knicks won't get the Pacers. The Celtics would.
No, Knicks would get the Pacers.
I think the one seed gets whoever the highest seed is, or lowest seed remaining. That's why you already know it's a 2-3 because 4 or 5 is
yeah, but I'm just looking at the way they have it bracketed down. Yeah,
it's just. But I'm pretty confident. I could be
Listen,
wrong.
I'm fine getting the Cavs too or the Magic.
I don't think the Knicks are gonna have a problem with either one of them.
And then honestly, the fact that Porzingis now went down for the Celtics. I mean, a lot of people are saying that the road has been paved in gold now for the Knicks to possibly make a run because if you have Porzingis down, you have another it's just another piece to the puzzle. You're gonna be hit. You got no Giannis. You got no other people. It's seeming like the Knicks could actually make a run here, which is scary. It's scary good, but at the same time, scary.
To me, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Knicks, at the bare minimum, are at the Eastern Conference Finals. If you want to talk about a hill I'm going to die on, I will die on the fact that the Knicks make it to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. Oh, you got a cute little hill next to mine. Yeah, you got a cute little bump in the road next to mine. A little divot. It's right there. But overall, look, the Heat, no Jimmy Butler. It's just, at some point, the Celtics are going to overwhelm them, even without Porzingis. Cavs, Magic, neither team is giving me a reason to think they're basically a sacrificial lamb for whoever they play in the next round. The Pacers are going to be a tough team, but if they do get the Knicks and it's bracketed the way that we're just looking at it right now, if that is the case, then the Pacers, they'll give the Knicks a good series, but the Knicks are going to be able to beat them. So, no matter how it unfolds for the Knicks, whether they get the Pacers or the Cavs or the Magic, I don't see how they lose in the second round. So you're basically setting yourself up for what most likely will be a Knicks-Celtics Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm sorry, but I've watched Tatum how many years in a row have these really good teams around him, and that team just collapses when it's one step from being in the finals. So you could be looking at a path that is lined in orange and blue to the NBA Finals. Now, when it comes down to who you get out of the West, I don't think the Knicks are going to beat whoever comes out of the West, but I do think the Knicks definitely can come out of the East.
All right. I'm with you that I think at least they get to the conference finals. The way they're looking now, they're fun to watch again, too, and that's the thing that I'm going to say is that New York sports are just fun right now. So if you're in this area, you're loving life. If not, I'm sure there's some team out there that's in the playoffs that's in your region.
And I think my main message to all New York fans is enjoy it because football season's around the corner and you'll be back to being miserable.
Yeah, we will.
I mean, the Jets, if Rodgers healthy, maybe the Jets, but...
And Buffalo. But, I mean, I guess we really don't consider them local.
It's so stupid to me that the Bills are the only team that play in freaking New York and nobody's like, oh, yeah, and the Bills. there was like the Jets and the Giants who play in Jersey, practice in New Jersey. Most of them live in New Jersey, but cool.
Well, on that note, my friend, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. And I mean, speaking of our divots before, I do want to try and get out there one day. We gotta get out on the links. We gotta play. We gotta play. I played more in Florida than I'd played in the last 15 years combined, and I'm feeling good.
And I want to get to a driving range first. I got it. I got yard work responsibilities.
I didn't play for 3+ years. I just stepped up to the first tee and just went with it.
See, that's the way you gotta go. You gotta stay out of your head.
That's what I'm talking about. So don't go to the driving range and hit 40 balls that are go this way and that way. Instead, just go to the course and start hitting them this way or that way. We got a cart. We'll have some cocktails and it'll be a good time.
As long as you got a cart. I don't know. I will never.
Is this body meant for walking 18?
my man. I will never in my life walk a 18
I'm 40 and with this body, I am not walking any course, my friend.
85 degrees with no trees over, so there's no shade. I'll be walking around every hole. I have to resuscitate Eric. Be like, it's your tee shot. Let's go.
Right?
I mean, I'll just be huffing and puffing, so we'll need to have that kit in a book bag, so I just have it. I won't be able to go get it for you. I'm like, sorry, bud. It was great knowing you. Take care. Wait, let me tee off your head. Just hold the tee. Here, just hold it. Oh, God, I need help. All right, yeah, no, I think that's a good time to wrap.
So why don't we tell the kiddies where they can find you? Well, let's not say kiddies. Let's where can people find you? Where can the people find you?
Oh, God. Oh, man. So, David Hastings 23 at X, I guess it is now, or at Twitter. I really still don't know. But David Hastings 23, that's basically my handle for everything, or D Hastings 23. I don't know. But I don't do a lot of posting or anything like that. I show the show.
Interaction, have fun.
Things, but we're here to live our best lives, and if there's any hill to die on, it's that one.
It's that one.
It is definitely that one.
At YouTube?
Oh, yeah. At Die on This Hill, YouTube. Yeah.
Boom. Till next time. Don't be afraid to have an opinion and die on this hill.
Man, I am still stoned.
Did not stop the stream yet.
That's fine. I'm sure anybody watching this